What's happening, everybody? This is Brent from the band Shinedown, and this is Shinedown's Week Takeover right here on Pirate Rock.
Last time we saw you at Sweden Rock Festival.
Yeah.
We did like a quick interview, and we were in your tour bus, and it was pretty awesome because the seats in the bus were so wide.
Yeah.
So you had to sit with when you were sitting, your legs were still out. Like normally, you can drop your
Yeah, I look like I was doing
down.
the Dougie from like a few years ago. You're like sitting there like this, you know? Yeah, I remember.
And we took a photo outside, and we have been having so much people like commenting the photo because it's pretty funny because Christian is so not in the picture. He's like the third wheel ever. Look at this one. Can you see you and I? We're like cuddling up and like having a nice time, and Christian is like the third wheel. It's on the side.
We look like a couple.
Yeah.
Which I ain't mad at.
It's so cute. And everyone...
You actually don't look like you're a third wheel. You look like you're a bodyguard. Yeah.
That's so much better. Like boosting him up. It's just so
like
much
your
fun.
name is Bubba. Yeah.
Your name is Bubba. Okay, so let's start. We're sitting here with Brent Smith. What's up?
What's happening? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here in Stockholm.
I know.
I
brought you all these gummies and these blueberries and all this fruit.
Like
I tried to do
grapes
it,
and everything, bananas and stuff. It's pretty awesome.
It's awesome, yeah.
So we were thinking that we were going to start like with your childhood. How was your childhood?
My childhood was good. I mean, I grew up in a town called Knoxville, Tennessee, and my mom worked for a bank. She's actually getting ready to retire in 2 more years. My dad was a teacher, and he was heavily into coaching a lot of different sports. Mm-hmm. And, I had kind of a, everybody has a specific childhood and what have you. But I had a good childhood. Nothing bad.
Do you have siblings?
No, I don't. I'm the only child.
You are?
I am. But I have a lot of brothers and sisters now. Like just being in a band and being on the road for 20 years, you meet a lot of people, and even though I didn't have brothers growing up, I have the most wonderful 3 brothers now. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting for me too because I didn't mind being alone when I was a kid. Like a lot of times people are like, kids that are only children will grow up and sometimes they become extremely selfish or they're just consumed with themselves and nobody else. I'm the actual opposite of that. I feel like I have a pretty strong moral compass and I have empathy and I actually care about my fellow man, woman, and child. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind listening to somebody if they're having a bad day. I try to help them out.
Yeah.
So, the only thing with me too was with my childhood, it was, I guess it was from everybody's outside approach, of what a childhood's supposed to be, recess and having fun and, going to school and being in sports and going to, birthday parties, all that kind of stuff. I was a little bit more of a loner right out of the gate.
Okay.
So once again, I didn't have any problems being with myself because I always felt like I was a little bit older in the mind than everybody else. So like I was born... Not that I was born late, but I just always started thinking about a lot of psychology, like early on.
Like what?
Well, I started writing songs. Well, I started with poems. I stared at like 10 years old. I kind of figured out that I could write down what I was thinking and how I felt. And for some reason, I was always compelled to write. Like I had to write. I had to do it. I found that the more I wrote down how I felt, it actually started to develop who I was. Mm-hmm. And then probably around 14, I started figuring out when I was writing it that I was kind of turning it into a song. And I was looking at things too. I was listening to a lot of songs at that time, a lot of different artists kind of coming up, noticing that it was verse, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, 2 choruses out. What I'm saying is like there was a structure.
Yeah.
So I started to write the poems and they became songs. And then all of a sudden at about 14 years old, I figured out I could voice it. Mm-hmm. And so as far as the singing is concerned, I just the only way I was able to teach myself, which is I think the best way you can, is I just listened to a lot of different people, male and female, different styles, and I would just, if it was a note that was really, really high, instead of just being like, I can't hit this, even if I tried, I might not have gotten it right out of the gate, but I would just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until I could hit the note. So yeah, I was studying really
self-taught?
early on.
Yeah. Did you like sing in the shower or
I
stuff
sang,
like that?
I sang a lot. Like when I was younger, my mom says like I can't remember all of it. Like when I was super super young, but she said you had no problems. She basically said you've never met a stranger. Like you wanted to be the life of the party, and you wanted to make everybody happy, and you really liked to see people light up. So she says I was singing, when I woke up, and I was like, okay.
Good morning, woohoo!
Yeah, kind of, But I remember when I was 13, my parents would go out on Friday nights, and they would allow me to stay home on my own. And when they would go out, we had such a cool garage because it had a really great reverb. It had a big echo in it.
Yeah.
So I remember taking my stereo out to the garage when they would go on a date. 'Cause they'd be gone for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
I remember putting Appetite for Destruction on and just singing with Axl, and making sure I could hit all those notes.
Wow.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Not what a typical kid would do.
Yeah, 14 years old, 13 years old. They're out like hanging out with their friends, going to the mall.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend for the first time, all that. I was in there like, welcome to the jungle, just like I was just losing my mind, and I would play it out too. Like I would run around the garage and act like I was on stage. I would use a hairbrush for a microphone, all that.
Did.
Yeah, totally.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
I get like pictures in my head. You're spinning around in your garage. But
had to practice.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, do the moves that you got now. Is this something that you? Okay, I did this when I was a child.
Yeah.
I'm putting it on stage now.
I could really rock a moonwalk.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, I had it down.
You can?
I had it down then. I don't know if I got it now.
We're gonna do a moonwalk
I stole
later.
all my moves from Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
though.
I'm not gonna tell anyone.
It was the two are Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury. I pretty much ripped them off.
Even the one that you grab your package?
Nah, maybe not that one.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take ownership of that.
It's funny though. But when you were a child, what would you want it to become when you were big, like when you were grown up, like a professional?
I feel very, very fortunate that I didn't have to search very long. Pretty much from the time I entered the earth, I wanted to do what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Like it. I was always compelled to do it from as long as I can remember. And that was interesting growing up too, being in different communities, and the kids that I went to school with in elementary school with, everybody it'd be career day, everybody's getting up, and everybody wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, a nurse, firefighter.
Yeah.
I got up there and was like, I want to be a singer, and I want to perform for people and make people happy. So recess would happen, and I would get beat up, because
Are you serious?
Yeah, totally. They were like, this fairy, wants to sing, and he was like, you want to run around in a little leotard too, and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, but
people are mean.
They are.
Kids
but
are mean.
here's the interesting thing that happened though. I was the kid, like once I got to high school, a lot of we started, the group of kids that I grew up with, we were together in elementary school. We went to high school together.
Yeah.
And for me, I just remember that those same kids, like when we got to like high school, bullying and getting pushed around and all that, because I was a loner. Like I didn't look like anybody else. I didn't like hang out with a specific group of people.
Yeah.
And I would get messed with just from a physical side too. Like people would try to push me and mess with me during class and stuff like that. But I was always like, hey man, as soon as the bell rings, I'm gonna kick your ass. And they were like, oh, whatever, dude. And we would, school would end, we'd go outside, and they thought I was like joking.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on.
Yeah, bring it.
And then you have like this scene of kids around us and stuff like that. And here's the thing. I'm going to be very humble with this. I got my ass kicked sometimes, but I never backed down.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. You can't be afraid to fail. You know, I don't think you're going to be defined by your failures. I think you're going to be defined by the fact that you didn't give up and you eventually won. But the same kids that like that happened with, by the time we were like seniors, we were cool with each other. It's it's not worth it, first and foremost. So when you ask me the question like, what did you want to do and what did you want to be, I felt very grateful that I have always known what I want to do, because I remember that senior year and looking at a lot of these, you know, other kids that I went to school with, and they were searching still.
They were.
You know, and it's kind of like they thought that high school was going to be forever, and I was like, I can't get out of here fast enough, you know, because I'm ready to start my life.
Yeah.
So, you know, in that respect, I feel very humble that I've always known what I wanted to be.
Good for you. Since there were some bullying and stuff going on in school, did you ever like, how do you say, doubt your choice of being a singer? Like, you wanted to become a singer? When people were saying like, you can be that.
No, that was fuel for the fire. I mean, if anything, I think that I have to thank a lot of those people.
Yeah.
For pushing me around, because it actually made me who I am today. I mean, I think that you have to. It's scary to be confronted with, you know, something that all of a sudden was, you're in a situation, and it's scary when something escalates and you're threatened. You know what I mean? You have to find a way to calm yourself down so that you can think through it. But in regards to the people around me that gave me a hard time, I'm glad they gave me a hard time, because it toughened me up.
Yeah, that's good.